How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we are back with another FPL live stream. And today we're going to be looking at our Game Week 4 preview show for this upcoming game week. The international break is almost over, but we are here on this Labor Day holiday. And happy Labor Day to all of you as well. And hopefully you had a good one. Not looking forward to having to go back to work. Was kind of getting used to the days off, if you know what I mean. But my vacation comes in November, so hopefully just a couple months away from that. But we're going to be talking about this man to my side here as well. We're going to be taking a look at what transfers I need to be making, because the title of the stream is We Got a Problem. I got some players that need to go, and I got some players that could be injured. Got some players that have some bad fixtures coming up, so we might need to ship them on out. And I think we could potentially do it without the wild card. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at how we did in the past game week as per normal, our predictions and clean sheet and differential picks for last week, as well as what we will have for this week as well. We'll go through those as per normal. Yeah, we got some new soundboard sounds. So if you're happy to see Ronaldo back at Manchester United, you'll probably be doing this like I've been doing in my work office basically all week. So if you want to jump around, say a little bit of C, or just a C, I've been doing the celebration pretty much all week. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So Fantasy Football Scout, I don't believe the 20% off is active at the moment, but I think it's still £25, and I think it's definitely worth it. You get all these different tools over to my right-hand side, your left-hand side, which is, and much more. Opta-driven stats tables. It's fantastic. So go check it out. There'll be a link in the About section below. You can get your membership there. I think it's £25, like I said, for the whole year, but it's definitely worth it. So make sure you go and check that out. And lastly, we'll go through all the follows and stuff here. So thank you, Stevie Maz, for following, as well as the Flash 8088 for following as well while we were offline. So without further ado, let's get into it. Lundley, I think is how you pronounce that. Would you pick Cody or Marcel? In my opinion, I would pick Cody because I think he's just a safer pick. I think Marcel can be potentially rotated. So I would say probably go for Cody, in my opinion. Yeah, that's who I would go for. If I was going to pick a Wolves defender, maybe Semedo, but again, he's probably more likely to be rotated. Although Cody did get subbed off, but I think that was only because they were down a goal and they needed to potentially get something. They wanted to at least get a draw out of the game, so that could be a little bit different. Is Sar a good idea? I think Sar is a good idea. I think his fixtures are great for the upcoming set of fixtures. So if we just look at Ismail Assar here. He's got Wolves at home, Norwich away, Newcastle at home, and then Leeds away. And if you're wildcarding Game Week 8, you can get rid of him because he's going to play Liverpool. So I think he's fantastic. 4.6 million as well. Very good option. Very good option. I'm definitely considering him as well. But so the one thing to actually pay attention to is with Watford, they're very good at home. So they have Wolves at home, Newcastle at home. So they have 2-2, and their away fixtures against Norwich and Leeds. So I think they should be okay for those fixtures. I think he could do quite well for that price point. As well. And no worries, Lundley. I'm glad that you just joined us on the stream. And we want to keep it all interactive. We want to keep it interactive, and as Pep would say,
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
I'm happy to be here, and you probably are happy to be here as well. So yeah, we got a few little interesting bits on the soundboard, which is quite nice. To add a little bit extra elements to the stream, add a little bit more vibrancy. So yeah. In terms of how my team did, we got 64 points, game week rank of around 1.75 million or so. And we had a slight red arrow, so not really ideal, but I think it's better than what we could have expected considering the 4 players, which we'll talk about in a second. Basically hurt me effectively. 3 out of the 4 at least anyway. Tomo, how's it going? Glad that you could join us as well. So yeah, But glad to be back. Glad to be back for this stream. So the red arrow is a little bit disappointing, but we're still in the top 100K, which is great. It's a fantastic start. And if we look at like the players that mainly hurt us was not captaining Antonio, so we lost out on we lost out on basically 1 point or 1 or 2 points, whatever it would be, for captaining Antonio versus captaining Son. And then Fernandes didn't do anything, which was great, even though he's in our team. But he would have definitely dropped our rank because he was well over 100% effective ownership. Wilson came through, which was good. He was one of our differential picks. Barnes didn't, which isn't great. And Ayling conceded a clean sheet. So those three, all things considered, I just need a little bit something extra from them in order to do well. And Antonio getting 11 points with Benrahma only getting 2 didn't help either. But the main thing was that Salah scored, getting a penalty. It was very frustrating. It looked like Chelsea was controlling the game, and Liverpool didn't really create anything apart from that opportunity, which was it was definitely a goal. If you watch my tactics talk that I did yesterday, I kind of break it down. It's a much longer one. It was one of the more interesting games as well. And then lastly, Mason Greenwood. Getting the only goal in the United game. I think he ended up with 10 points. Yeah, those three, Salah, Mason Greenwood, and Antonio all doing well, kind of burnt me in that sense. Captain Son was fine. We went from, I think, when Son scored, which was very fortunate anyway, when Son scored, I went from like 240k to like a very, very small green arrow of like 51k or whatever it was. So, yeah. It was just the last Mason Greenwood basically getting the goal. If either him or Fernandes didn't get it, which is obviously asking for a lot there, it's like saying, oh yeah, we don't want Kane or Son to score for Spurs. Very unlikely if they're playing against a not so great team, and they're probably going to score in that case. But let's take a look at the team individually. So we got Sanchez, again, disappointing to lose a clean sheet, but it is what it is. Ayling losing the clean sheet was definitely disappointing versus Burnley. Trent Alexander-Arnold lost a clean sheet, kind of expected that. I think I predicted 1-1. And he ended up coming away with 2 bonus points. So he did what Shaw did last week, which is fantastic. Shaw getting 6 points. Clean sheet's always great. United's first of the season. Son captain, happy with that as well. He ended up being the same as Salah, so we broke even. We lost the transfer, but we broke even on that front, so ended up being okay. Benrahma and Barnes, just, not really much there. Barnes, mainly the big disappointment there, and he is on the chopping block. Bruno Fernandes wasn't too, didn't really care too much, but the fact that he hasn't gotten any points in 2 games, a lot of managers are shipping him out. He's well below 50% now. I think he's dropped by like 8 to 10% already. I'm planning on keeping him. I think versus Newcastle at home. I think with Ronaldo in the team, he's going to be just as good. I think him not having penalties, but it might mean that he pushes into the box more because he's going to create for Ronaldo, who often drifts out to the left sometimes as well when they're not on the ball as much. And then Ronaldo will play it to Shaw down the line, run into the box, and look for a header, basically. And then the front line all returned. Hamstring FC, as it were. Ings getting the assist. But I believe he got a yellow card as well. He did. He's potentially on the chopping block as well. Antonio, this guy, 13, 16, 11. He's just ridiculous. And Wilson got a goal before he went off injured. So there's reports that he could be out for a few weeks, so we'll have to monitor that. And then Veltman was a surprise coming back. He played more than I thought he was going to. He played 45 minutes, came on at halftime. I didn't expect him to see on the bench. Gilmore 2 points, and Tsimikas actually came on as a substitute appearance for Robertson, I guess just because he was back. He'd probably be a little bit tired. I think Tsimikas got around like 10 minutes or so. 4 minutes. With the added time, it was probably around like 10 minutes. But yeah, all things considered, not too disappointed with the red arrow. 15, 17k or whatever it was, red arrow isn't terrible considering that Salah, Greenwood, Antonio all did well. 3 out of the 4 basically. If I would have gotten away with 2 out of the 4, I probably would have been like very, very small red arrow. So we're still happy with that. Toma asks, are you planning on wildcarding Gameweek 4? No, because I have 2 free transfers and I would rather take a -8 than use the wildcard if I absolutely have to. We'll talk about that in a bit. I want to get to that section for sure. Let's look at the tweet. Here we go. There is the tweet that we put out for Game Week 3 predictions. We always post these things over on Twitter once the preview stream is over. So, how did we do this week? Well, Man City, we predicted 2-0 over Arsenal. I thought, maybe Pep would go a little bit easy. He'll go easy on Arteta, and Arteta won't be too bad. But they ended up winning 5-0. So, and Ferran Torres got 2 goals and an assist. He played superbly, and I'm potentially looking to get him in as well. So, if you don't know how the scoring works, basically, if you get the exact result right, you get 3 points. If you get just the result right, so not the exact score, you get 1 point. And if you get it wrong, then you get 0 points. So, have we done the past few weeks? I got my little notebook here. We got 9 points and 11 points. So, what we're looking to basically do when there's 10 fixtures in the week is get 5 right and an exact score, which totals up to 8 points. So, the last 2 weeks, we've done a little bit better than normal. So, we want to get over 50% correct result right. And we want to see if we can get an exact score. So, Man City versus Arsenal, we predicted 2-0. It ended up being 5-0, so we get just the 1 point there. Aston Villa over Brentford 2-0. It ended up being a draw. Brentford undefeated in their first 3 games, which is amazing, picking up 5 points for themselves. A win versus Arsenal and 2 draws versus Palace and Aston Villa. So they're doing quite well for themselves. Brighton and Everton, I predicted a 1-1 draw. Everton was quite comfortable mostly in that game. And they managed to pick up the victory, so we got that one wrong. Also, I think Sanchez got a save point in that one because he ended up with 2 points, so which is interesting. Not something you're going to get from Sanchez very often. Let's keep it at that. Newcastle Southampton, I predicted 2-2. It ended up being 2-2 in very, very late circumstances, but I still got it right. So we got an exact score of 3 points there. Norwich and Leicester, I predicted 2-0 Leicester. It ended up being 2-1, so we still get that right. West Ham, I predicted 2-0 versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace had a lot more fight in them than we thought, 2-2. So we got the result wrong there. That's not an X, that's an X. Liverpool-Chelsea, 1-1. Got that one exactly right as well. Leeds versus Burnley probably should have been 2-1 if they could have put their chances away. But ended up being 1-1, so didn't get it there. Then I predicted 2-0 for Spurs and Man United, respectively, over Watford and Wolves, their opponents. Both were 1-1, so we get 1 point each there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4... plus 6, so a total of 10 points. So we did regress slightly from last week, but that's our average. We've gotten 9, 10, 11, and 10 in terms of our correct predictions, which is great. We're above normal, and we're getting at least 5 correct every week. This week we've got 6. We're getting a couple of exact scores, which is better than what we were doing. There was a streak last week where I went like 3-4 game weeks in a row where literally I just didn't get the scores right. Which would probably be why my FPL team was doing bad, because if I predicted them the scores the way they were going to go, you would think I would bring in the players that would do well for my FPL team. But unfortunately, that's not the way it goes all the time. But the surprise of the week was Crystal Palace getting 2 goals versus West Ham. Would have thought that they would have been a bit better. Although Leicester won, I think they were very poor versus Norwich. Aston Villa struggling to score, really. And just not really creating too many chances. Wolves, despite losing 1-0 3 games in a row, still looks quite threatening. United always have trouble against them, especially at a fully packed Molineux. And Arsenal continue to struggle with Brentford, doing very, very well for themselves as well. So, I mean, when the red card happened, I mean, you just think, oh, Xhaka, red card. Yeah, this is going to get, ugly really quickly. And it did. So, yeah. Not ideal for the Gunners. But they move on to the next week. And they have a nice easy fixture this week with Norwich. But that's in the 11 o'clock games our time, which will be the 3 o'clock games in the UK. So, let's bring up the predictions notepad that we have here. So, first game out the gates, we got Crystal Palace versus Spurs. Now, there's a possibility that I could have already made up my mind, some kind of, maybe, I don't know, getting rid of Son, something like that. Yeah, this would be painful to watch them play Palace, although Son, I believe, has only scored against Palace once in, like, 7 or 8 games or something playing against them, which is, I think that fills me with a little bit more confidence. But then you think, oh, he's going to break the hoodoo and he's going to score a bazillion goals. Kane's going to be fully match fit, having played games for England and all that sort of stuff. So that could be a bit of an issue. But I do see Spurs definitely scoring in this one. I think Palace can score. I think Spurs have been quite lucky with their clean sheets that they have been keeping. But I think Spurs will ultimately win out, and I think they'll win the game 2-1. Just not controlling the game mostly, and Crystal Palace will get a goal. Once Crystal Palace get all their players back, they have Elise, they get Eze back in the team. They have Edouard fully integrated into the team. They could be really, really threatening, I think, this season. A very young and vibrant team. Arsenal versus Norwich. Now, my head says I should probably predict Arsenal to win this game because it makes sense. But I'm not sure if I can agree with what my head's saying. If I actually say what I think could potentially happen in this game, even though Arsenal at home, I mean, it's going to be similar to what Jose Mourinho said as well.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
If I speak and say that Arsenal are going to lose versus Norwich at home, I could be in some hot water with some Arsenal fans. You know what I'm saying? So I think Arsenal should definitely be good money in this game. Ben White will be back as well. I'm not sure if Gabriel will be back as well, but we'll have to see. But Ben White being back will help them out. They should have everyone back for the most part, barring like Thomas Partey. I think maybe Jack will be out of the team, which is probably happy for most Arsenal fans, but we will see. I can see Arsenal putting a few past Norwich since it's a must-win for them. Yeah, I think probably a clean sheet as well. I'm just gonna go conservative here. I'm gonna go 2-0. This is kind of what's probably gonna be expected. And if it doesn't go this way, then there's gonna be a lot of anger potentially in the dressing room, and Arteta's going to be going in the dressing room like Pep and just being mad.
Sit down! Nobody talk! Sit down!
And it's going to be really bad. Pep's going to be all over the all over the place, and Arteta will probably follow suit because I believe Arteta was still the second in command basically at the time when that documentary was filmed. That's a clip from it. Pep, I think it was after was it Manchester Derby? I'm not even sure. It was after some game where they basically lost, and Pep came in and lost it and just said, sit down, nobody talk. But yeah. Brentford versus Brighton. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game. You're going to have two teams, two very interesting systems. Brentford's going to definitely try to attack. Brighton is also going to try to attack. They're going to both impose themselves on the game. And this actually might be one of the ones I actually put on later on in the day to actually pay it, and actually watch, because it could be quite interesting. Because you would think that Brighton should be able to hold Brentford off. But Brentford, with the home fans, they haven't lost the season as well. So they're going to be quite confident going through this game. Not many of their players went on international duty, if any, so they should be fresh and ready to go. So I think it's going to be hotly contested. I think both teams are good for attacking numbers in this one, so I'm actually going to go with, similar to how the Newcastle and Southampton game went, I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a higher scoring one. I'm going to go with a 2-2. So that should be a fun one to watch, I think. Moving on, Leicester versus Man City. I think Leicester haven't looked great defensively. Leicester last season weren't great at home, although they have the home fans now, so maybe they upped their levels for this one, but I just see Man City winning. I'm going to go Man City kind of control the game. Maybe Leicester nick one on the counter, but I think Man City will ultimately come out on top. United versus Newcastle. Ronaldo back home. The last time United played Newcastle with Ronaldo in the starting lineup, they won 6-0 and Ronaldo scored a hat-trick. Am I going to predict 6-0? No. That's probably not going to happen. But I will predict a comfortable 3-0 win. I don't see Newcastle scoring in this one. I think United's defense is too good with the current setup with Shaw, Maguire, Varane, and Wan-Bissaka with De Gea in goal. Also, there's a potential that Wilson is out. Another problem for my team as well, so we'll have to see on how they line up without Wilson, if he is out the few weeks that the rumors are kind of saying that he is, which is not ideal because his fixtures after Man United aren't terrible. Wilson, they're okay, so I wish I could keep him, but we'll have to see kind of how it goes and wait for the press conferences. Southampton versus West Ham. I think West Ham should be quite comfortable in winning this one. I think that West Ham, having conceded versus the likes of Crystal Palace, I think they will concede as well, but I can see them getting a few in this one and continuing their form, and I think they'll win the game 3-1. Watford versus Wolves. Now, Watford, fantastic away from home. Or fantastic at home, sorry, not so great away from home. Wolves, very good at home, not so great away from home, you know, typically, especially, well, at least against the Big Six, that was the case. And I think this could be a very interesting tactical bout. I think both teams have been, you know, Watford's very good at home defensively. I'm not sure, I think they played 2 away games in a row. So they played away to Spurs, and they played away to Brighton, and then they won at home. So I think they're good for goals at home, but it's a matter of can Wolves get some on the score sheet, and I think they will. Personally, I think Wolves will win this game. I think they'll, you know, make up for the goals that they didn't have, and I think they'll win the game 2-0 because I think the defense is good enough to keep out Watford as well. Do you think Ronaldo will start against Newcastle? I blimmin' hope so, because he's Ronaldo. I mean, he's just. You could see him. You could see him scoring and just you could just see him celebrating, doing that the whole Old Trafford, doing the C sound as well. And you'll probably have commentators doing a whole bunch of stuff like saying like this.
Absolutely world class.
The commentator's probably going absolutely mental because he'll score a header or something like that because he's back at Old Trafford. So yeah, I hope he starts. I hope he starts. Yeah, I mean, he has no reason not to. He played versus played for Portugal, came back. He has to isolate. It's not like he's taking 5 days off. He's still training and that sort of stuff. He's been double vaccinated. They just have to. He just has to do five days quarantine because it's the rules basically. He'll be in training Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then he'll be in there on Saturday. He's definitely going to be on the team sheet somewhere, whether it's on the bench or in the lineup. But my guess is he's going to start. I would think, whether that be up front or on the left or in some different position, then who knows where. But I would. It would be a criminal not to start him, in my opinion. Chelsea versus Aston Villa. I think this is a comfortable win for Chelsea again. I think Villa's defense is quite weak. They won't have Martinez. They won't have Buendia. I think Chelsea are better than 2 goals this game. I think 3-0 is probably a little bit of fluff or fly or something. I don't know what that was. Better than 2 goals in this one. So we'll go 3-0. Leeds, Liverpool, this could be quite the shootout, but I think ultimately Leeds will leave a lot of space open. They'll probably get 1, but I think, you know, Liverpool will have the quality. They'll put their chances away. Leeds will probably squander a few of theirs, and ultimately Liverpool will come away with 3 points. And lastly, Everton versus Burnley. Burnley away from home hasn't been great. Everton are good with open play crosses, which Burnley seem to have struggled with, particularly down their left-hand side, which will be Everton's right-hand side with Seamus Coleman. And I think that they could do quite well in this one. I can see Everton scoring a couple. Burnley might get one on a set piece, so I'm just going to go with the Everton 2-1. It's going to be a safe-ish scoreline, I guess. Moving on to the clean sheet and differential picks. So for this week, I've gone for a clean sheet for Wolves. I think they have a really good chance for a clean sheet. I think they definitely deserved at least 1. Probably it would probably be a safe bet. Having looked at the way they play in those first 3 fixtures. So I'm going to go with a Wolves clean sheet versus Watford. In goal, differential pick for this week. Now, differential is typically around 5%. Goalkeepers, it's a little bit trickier, so I've gone as low as possible. And I've gone with Jordan Pickford. I think if he does keep a clean sheet, he's going to be doing it through a few saves off of set pieces potentially, which would make his bonus points go up. And Everton might not necessarily score more than 2. They might score maybe 1 or 2. But if Pickford picks up a few saves, then he could be good for the bonus. But having, you know, said 2-1, I mean, it could easily be 2-0 depending on how Pickford is playing that day. You know, Pickford for England, I'll bet a clean sheet on it, no problem, versus Burnley at Goodison Park. Pickford for Everton, different story. But I think he could be an interesting differential. In defense, over 5%, but 6.1%. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because John Stones, 5.3 million currently in FPL, and there's I think it was Laporte who came off injured during the internationals, or with a slight knock or whatever it may be. If the scan shows that he might be out for a week or two or something like that, John Stones can come straight in. Leicester could potentially keep a clean sheet there. Maybe. We'll have to see. But again, 5.3 midfielder playing, not midfielder, defender playing for Man City could be good value. In midfield, we've gone with Traore. I mean, 2.6% owned. I mean, he's got to get something by now. His XG is ridiculous, and he hasn't even scored yet, so he should be doing well. And then lastly, Raul Jimenez, his partner in crime. I can see them teaming up for the 2 goals in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully they can help us along later on, because I think they're going to be good FPL assets in the future. So that is it for our predictions and differentials. We're going to be moving over to the current team. I will post that over on Twitter, so make sure to follow us over on that. It's currently in the chat, but it's also in the About section, so make sure to follow us over on there if you haven't done so already. Let's move the notepad off the screen. So this is the team currently. This is the team currently on the screen, as we have made no transfers as of yet. The one transfer we made last week was Salah out for Son, and we banked the other transfer. So you can see on the graphic, all the way up in the corner up there, you can see this week 0 out of 2 transfers used. So we have 2 transfers available to use, and then last week we used 1 transfer. So we still have 2. So let's run through how the team's looking. So we'll kind of go through all the players, and then we'll look at the transfer page and see what we can and cannot do, because that's the real crux of it. We have Sanchez and Veltman as our double up in Brighton for Brighton's defense. I think we're fine there. If Veltman doesn't play, we know Ayling's going to play. It's not great versus Liverpool, but we know we at least have some type of cover there. And I think they could be for good value. I think I predicted a 2-2 in that one, so hopefully it's not that. I hope it's a nice, boring 0-0. That'd be great. And hopefully Veltman's straight back into the team, which he should be, because I don't think Lamptey's back as of yet. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luke Shaw, expecting some attacking returns there. Shaw, hopefully for a clean sheet. Maybe a Shaw assist to a Ronaldo header. That would be great if we were to bring in Ronaldo, which I think we are. Then it's kind of it's these guys up front that are posing a bit of an issue. So let's talk about the West Ham. Let's talk about the things that aren't problems yet. Benrahma and Antonio. Benrahma and Antonio, I think, are perfectly fine. I think there's no reason to get rid of them. Southampton away is a good fixture for them. And if we look at the rest of the fixtures, they have Man United at home as a double up the following week. That's not great. Leeds away could be good. Leeds will open up space for them. And then Brentford at home before potentially wildcarding them out in Game Week 8. That is where we've earmarked our wildcard in Game Week 8. So that's what we're looking at. Fernandes for this week is not a problem. He currently holds the captain's armband. That could change if we were to bring in Ronaldo. Now, Fernandes is basically a placeholder at the moment for Mohamed Salah, because I think Ronaldo can cover or do good in these games, whereas we don't need both Fernandes and Ronaldo, and we can kind of hedge our bets and say, oh, if United get penalty, Ronaldo's probably going to take it. If Fernandes takes it, then that's obviously where we can change our mind on things, but Ronaldo's going to be wanting to score some goals, so he's going to probably take them. So Fernandes, for the time being, is going to be a Salah placeholder for the one transfer that we'll probably make in Game Week 5. So those 3 aren't really an issue. It's these 3 in combination with Son, who's going to be our cash cow most likely. Now, Son has Crystal Palace away. Historically, hasn't scored very much against them. But he's got 10, 3, 10, so maybe a 3 is coming if we're going by patterns. Fernandes, I think, has the better fixture. He's also at home, so I think he's better to have in the team personally than the likes of Son. Fernandes can obviously score, from open play. He showed that. He got a hat-trick in Game Week 1. And like Tomo says, no chance Ronaldo lets Bruno take pens. Yeah, maybe Fernandes will still be on some free kicks and corners and stuff, but Ronaldo's taking the penalties. He's going to be taking the penalties. He'll just walk over to Fernandes and just tell him this.
I think I'm a special one.
He'll just say he's the special one. He's the one that needs to take the penalty. So, because that's how it works. He goes, you see what happens for Portugal? It's going to happen for here as well. Even though he did miss his last penalty for Portugal, but then scored a brace. So it doesn't really matter because of Ronaldo. But I think Son is probably in a one-off shootout. Who would I rather? Fernandes versus Newcastle at home or Son versus Crystal Palace away? I think I'll take Fernandes at Newcastle at home. Because I think United could absolutely just annihilate Newcastle. So that would mean Son would be the one that would have to make way. Now, herein lies the problem. So we have Wilson, who's potentially injured for a few weeks. These are the reports. Now, would I like to keep him for these fixtures? I think these fixtures could be okay for him. He scored 2 out of his first 3, getting 6, 1, and then 9. So not terrible returns from him. I think he's done okay. He's definitely done better than Ivan Toney thus far. So with that extra $1 million that we spent on him, he's gotten us a goal better, which I think is fine. Ings, he's got a return in every single game, but he has 4 awful fixtures more or less in a row. The Everton at home game isn't terrible, but the other 3 are all away games, which is not great at all. So I don't expect him to get much joy in those games either. And then Harvey Barnes. Now, he was the one that we hoped would get something in the Norwich game. He hasn't done that. He's gotten a bunch of low scores, 3-2-2. And we would hope that he had gotten something in the Norwich game. He's probably going to blank versus Man City, almost certainly. And then he would have a nice little run of fixtures again, and then we could wild card him out in Game Week 8. That has not transpired that way. So, what we have to kind of consider is, what will Barnes get in this run of fixtures? Well, based on the way that Leicester are playing, he might get, I'll say, a goal and an assist, maybe in these 4 games, possibly. But he might also just get benched a couple of them too. So it's not looking ideal for Barnes, and especially this game week, Man City at home probably isn't ideal for him to score either. You would just assume that he's going to get nothing. So, those are the kind of the problem areas that we have. So, if we can move over to the transfer screen, what are we looking to do? Well, Tsimikas is one of our Liverpool slots, so I was thinking potentially we could do some... These are my early thoughts on in the week. So, I was thinking, well, maybe I can do something like this. I can go Tsimikas out. I can go Son out. I can go Ings out. This is if Wilson was fit, basically. If Wilson was fit, and like let's say Barnes had done well, then we could and then just go like Livramento or something like that. And then we'd have 0.8 million. We could play Jota, Barnes, Fernandes, Benrahma. We'd have Ronaldo, Antonio, and Wilson. We'd captain Ronaldo. Things are looking great, fantastic. We don't have Salah for the Leeds game, but we'll have Salah the following week because Fernandes will come out because we have the extra money in the bank for -4 because we have 2 free transfers this week. And Barnes would have scored the previous week, and everything would be looking fine and dandy. That hasn't happened. Barnes hasn't done well. I think Leicester need to switch to a 3-5-2 formation, which means that Barnes is either playing at wing-back or not playing at all, which is kind of an issue. So my next thing was, well, what if I don't want Jota? What if I just bank on the fact that Liverpool don't do well versus Leeds, which is probably a stupid thing to think, but Leeds are at home, so anything's possible. So I said, okay, well, what if I just do Ings out, Barnes out, Son out, keep Fernandes. We'll bring in Ronaldo, because obviously, bring in Ronaldo and captain him. We would bring in, we'll just go with like Rafinha as an example, giving us a reason to root for Leeds versus Liverpool. And then we could bring in any midfielder that isn't 8.3 million or higher, basically. So we could bring in, let's say, Ferran Torres. Hypothetically, we would have Rafinha for the next few games. We would keep him on the wild card, almost certainly. And he would have Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, and Norwich. And on the wild card, we may be bringing in, the likes of Bamford or something like that. in Game Week 8 if he is showing that he's doing well. And then we'd have a Leeds triple up, which would be great. But then the problem has arisen with Wilson. So we could have an issue there. Now, the thing that I've come up with today is I've gone with something that's a bit... It's an extra hit, but it is kind of future-proofing in the sense. So if we've made the decision Fernandes over Son, that's the decision that we've made. I'm pretty certain on that. Son comes out. Barnes comes out. Wilson comes out because he's injured. And Ings comes out just because he is... somewhat... He's the most expensive forward that we have currently. And his fixtures aren't great at all. And we bring in Ronaldo. For obvious reasons up front. We could bring in Ferran Torres, who has, halfway decent fixtures in this very short term. Chelsea and Liverpool aren't great, but we can still keep him for these upcoming fixtures and maybe pair up a Man City defender or something like that on the wild card. But I think he is, Man City could score versus anyone, so I think he could do quite well. So we bring in Ferran Torres. Then the midfield slot is interesting. We can do a bunch of different things here if we really wanted to. But one of my ideas was Mason Mount. And Mason Mount would allow us to be a bit more flexible come Game Week 7. So in Game Week 5, we would burn our 2 free transfers, no matter how many hits we take or not. Or Game Week 4, rather. Game Week 4, let me correct myself. Game Week 4, we burn both our free transfers and whatever hits we take. Game Week 5, Fernandes comes out, Salah goes in. That's nailed on. Salah has Brentford and Palace at home or something crazy like that. So Salah's going to be our captain for those 2 games, no problem. Because I believe United have, United have Aston Villa at home, but we'll have to see kind of what they're shaping out to be there. And Liverpool have, Crystal Palace and Brentford away. So I think those are probably better. Will Ronaldo start? I think so, personally. Now, obviously, wait till press conferences. I'm not making any transfers until after Friday evening, basically. So I've taken price drops on Simicast. I've taken 2 price drops, I think, on Barnes, or 1 on Barnes to 6.8. I'm just waiting, because I can be flexible. So Mount would allow us in the midfield slot. We would have him for Aston Villa at home, which I think is a good fixture because they don't have Emi Martinez and Emiliano Buendia. Spurs away and Man City at home are going to be tricky, but it is what it is. And then we just hold him for these great fixtures. And then our last player would be a forward, which would be Raul Jimenez if Jimenez is looking good. We could bring in Jimenez, and that leaves us 0.8. If I think Jimenez is going to start and I have confidence in him, bringing him in would be a crazy differential. They have great fixtures up until and including Game Week 9, in my opinion. And even after the Everton game, they could definitely score in. I can see me keeping Jimenez for this whole time. Because I think Wolves will score. I think they have the ability to score. They just got to put the ball in the back of the net. So that would be for a -8. Now, you might say, well, Pilot, would you just keep... Would you just keep Ings if Wilson is injured for an extra week and then, assess, Jimenez for another week? We could do that. It's just that Aston Villa play Chelsea and Jimenez plays Watford away. So can I see Jimenez winning, getting a goal versus Watford and winning 1-0 and him getting 9 points and Ings coming up with 2 points because they can't score versus Chelsea because they don't have Buendia and they can't keep the ball out of the back of the net because... they're playing against Chelsea and they don't have their goalkeeper. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And then it just comes down to I need to take the -4 to fix injuries. So Wilson would be injured in that case if we were to take him out. Son would be my only concern because Son would be the one that could hurt me after taking him out. Barnes I don't think is high enough owned to hurt me at all. It would just be like as an example, FF Scout Mark Southerns. He took out Torres in Game Week 2 for like a -4, whatever it was, for Lukaku. And Torres obviously got 2 goals and assists, went absolutely ballistic. but Torres' ownership was so low that at the time it wasn't like 10%, it was like 2% or whatever it was, 1%, that it didn't really hurt him. But it was the points that he could have had. My attack for this week is Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Antonio. Fantastic. Why not replace Ings with DCL instead of Jimenez? So the reason I can't do that, that's a good question. That is a good question. So the reason I can't do that, so if I brought in Calvert-Lewin, assuming Calvert-Lewin's fit, like I'll ignore the flag, I could do it for the exact money. The only thing would be is that Calvert-Lewin would be for 3 fixtures probably. He does seem to potentially have some type of injury of some kind. I wouldn't be able to get a Chelsea player, but I could still do Traore as an example, and that would be fine. So maybe that forward plus midfielder combo is good, but I would have to not be able to get Mason Mount or Torres. I'd have to sack one of them basically, to get Fernandes to Salah. Because remember, we have to keep at least 0.5 million, or 0.6 preferably, just in case Salah does go up randomly on like the Monday or something before I've got him. Or like the Sunday evening before I've got him. To switch from Fernandes to Salah. That's what we need. We still need to keep 0.5, 0.6 preferably in the bank to do that. So I could do this. And then in game week 7, do I have enough for Lukaku? I would have to not get Ronaldo basically. Pretty much. I don't have enough to go all the way up to Lukaku, no. But so if I had my, so let me go back to my original plan. So we have the Jimenez and Mount idea, and the reason Mount is because Mount's a Chelsea midfielder. I think he's great. He's on set pieces. He looks to be assisting a lot more now that he's got Lukaku in front of him as well. So he'll be getting the kind of the tick over points if Lukaku does score. And it would mean like game week 5, we take out Fernandes. We bring in Salah, so we still have the point. We got 0.3, so we got a little bit of cover there. Then in game week 6, we don't do anything, and then in game week 7, we can do a couple of things. If we think that Ronaldo's being saved for the Champions League, or there's something going on there, then we could take Ronaldo out for Lukaku, or we can go with something a little bit different. We could take out Trent, we could take out Shaw, or even. We could take out Trent, take out Tsimikas, and we can go for, because Reece James will be back, and we can go for like Reece James and Chilwell as a double up, and we can play Shaw, James, and Chilwell, and then we can have triple Chelsea in that type of mode for that one game week if we thought that Chelsea was more likely to keep a clean sheet than blast Southampton, which they're probably more likely to blast Southampton. But we can go for something. We can go for something like that, rather than having Lukaku, in a sense. And we could just captain Ronaldo because Ronaldo's at home to Everton. It's a fine fixture, in my opinion. I think it's okay. Obviously, the only concern here would be Salah and Torres play against each other, but it is what it is. But that would leave us to be open to stuff like that. So if we restore and restore. But what we could also do is if we think, oh, look, well, Lukaku is definitely going to be better than Ronaldo, we can also just as easily go Lukaku in for Ronaldo straight up, and then we can get rid of, Trent, and we can bring in, whoever as a Chelsea defender. We can basically buy anyone for the 2 free transfers. We'd have triple Chelsea. We captain Lukaku. We'd still have Shaw in the Everton game. I just hope United get like a 1-0 or something and they don't go too crazy. And then we'd still play Ayling over Veltman, and we'd be fine. That's what we could do. So if we were to do, let me put Ronaldo back. Restore him. We'll get rid of Mount. We'll do, let's say, Traore. And we'll do Calvert-Lewin, because we'll explore this option too. Let's read some of the comments here. I think DCL has scored in every game this season. He has 2 of which have been penalties, by the way. Game week 7, Chelsea's a nice fixture swing. Be good to get some Chelsea defenders in. Yep, we mentioned that on the... I think I may have read that out. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. How's it going, Mono? Glad that you could join us. Will Chilwell get in ahead of Alonso, though? Alonso's played well so far. Well, that's the thing. We could pick and choose whatever defender we want. I'm just giving you an example that we can basically go to any double Chelsea defenders if we want to. Like, we can kind of pick and choose. The only thing is with Calvert-Lewin is that we kind of... You know, he's got good fixtures, but the thing is in game week 7, we're like forced to not play him. Like, we're forced to have to remove him. So... if I had, so instead of Torres, I, let's say, went Mason Mount instead, hypothetically, right? In order to, if we wanted to get rid of Calvert-Lewin, we could go Calvert-Lewin out, Trent out. I don't think there's very much to go to Lukaku. Yeah, see, we have 4.8, so we couldn't go to another Chelsea defender unless we took a hit. So that's the only caveat if we want to keep Ronaldo, because you don't want to take Ronaldo out versus Everton at home over the likes of Calvert-Lewin, who's playing Man United away. You would think Ronaldo's probably more likely to score versus Everton on his home patch than Calvert-Lewin is away, although Calvert-Lewin did score versus United last season at Old Trafford in a 3-3 draw. So that's the only reason I'm hesitant. Also, I'm hesitant because Calvert-Lewin is potentially got a toe injury as well as a thigh injury, so there is some concerns there. Jota, Torres, Traore, Gray, or Rafinha. If you don't have 3 Liverpool, Jota would be top of my list. If you do have 3 Liverpool, obviously it'd be at the bottom because you need true transfers to probably take out Tsimikas in that case. But if I had to say no qualms about money or other players in your team, I would say probably Jota first. Probably Rafinha, Torres, Traore, Gray. Maybe. It's a bit weird. Tsimikas out for Duffy last week. So yeah, Jota, no problem. Easy peasy. But that's, again, make sure you take a look at the press conferences. Wait and bide your time. If Klopp says, yeah, look, Firmino's out, then it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. Because remember, Ronaldo can't go up in price. He cannot go up in price. Actually, let's take a look at that while I'm thinking of it. So, the price predictions. So, the players that are apparently going to go up in price is Alan from Everton and Antonio from West Ham, with Ferran Torres, Brandon Williams, David De Gea, all being somewhat close. And then players to go down in price is Leon Bailey from Aston Villa, Parod from Southampton, Dean Henderson from Man United, Matt Targett from Aston Villa, Traore, not the Wolves Traore, Bertrand Traore from Aston Villa, with Solly March, Andros Townsend, Kiko Firmino, and Omoboma Deli, and a bunch of others being very close to going down in price as well. Callum Wilson is there, so hopefully he stays put. We don't want him going down in price. That would be not ideal. So we'd have to hope that he doesn't go down in price so we don't lose another 0.1 million. So yeah, I have to wait because I have to see, is Wilson actually injured? What does Brendan Rodgers say about the way he's going to be playing? Is Ronaldo starting? You know, what's the situation there? What's Lukaku's situation? What's Calvert-Lewin's situation? What does Pep have to say in regards to Ferran Torres? You know, a bunch of different things we have to you know, check. The Ronaldo hype train for game week 1 is WAOTT, over the top. So well over the top. I guess. I don't know. I guess you're saying it's over the top. I think that Ronaldo is way over the top. Okay. For one game, I mean, it's not going to be for one game because we would be getting rid of Fernandes, but we'd still have Ronaldo for West Ham away, Aston Villa at home, Everton at home. Remember, 3 out of these 4 games are at home at Old Trafford. Fans at Old Trafford haven't seen Ronaldo play in a United shirt for like 12 years. So like, people that are like younger than me, so like 2008, 2009, 12 years ago, I would have been in like my mid-teens. So people who are like 5 years younger than me might not even remember him, like age 10, age 11, something like that. So they're going to be excited. Will he even start? That's the million-dollar question, but I think the answer is probably going to be yes. So, but yeah, the only reason I don't want Calvert-Lewin is because, I mean, the fixtures do look nice, but it's a potential transfer that I'm going to have to make in Game Week 7 anyway, unless I'm risking playing him versus United at home, which I'll have a player in my team that's somewhat highly owned. Or he probably will be highly owned by the time he gets there, especially if he scores versus Burnley, that I don't want to score, basically. Captain is too much of a risk? Nah. Captain's never a risk. Wouldn't surprise me if Ronaldo bags in the first game back. I mean, of course he will. They're going to make it a absolute quest. It's going to be like, if you get Ronaldo to score, you win the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory. You know? That's basically how it's going to be. Ronaldo's going to be running all over the pitch just saying, "See!" And he's going to be scoring. That's how it's going to work. DCL is the sensible choice and hold Bruno, but I won't do that. I mean, it just depends on how you want to play it. There's a lot of managers selling Bruno, and there's some ways where managers have to sell Bruno in order to get Ronaldo, and I understand that. For me, at the moment, I have the ability to where I can get rid of Son and work around it, basically. That's how I have I have the ability to do that. I can get rid of Son, I can get rid of Ings, I can get rid of Wilson, and then I can get, Ronaldo in. Now, if Wilson was fit, I mean, I can do, I can just do a -4, which would be, Ronaldo up front. We could bring in Ferran Torres. We could bring in Mason Mount. Like, we can bring in the midfielders that we want, potentially. Captain Ronaldo. Wilson plays against Man United. Okay, cool, whatever. It's not terrible. I mean, I know it's the same situation as Calvert-Lewin, but you have to remember that Wilson is also 0.7 cheaper as well, which is the issue. Because if I have, so as an example, if I have Wilson in my team versus having Calvert-Lewin as an example, we can't have Torres or Mount. One of those has to be downgraded somewhere. And yes, Mono, we would get Salah back in for Game Week 5. We're gonna basically earmark that transfer, Fernandes to Salah. So if Wilson was fit, this is what we do. We'd have Mount and Torres probably. Salah comes in. Captain Salah, no problem. Game Week 6, do nothing. Game Week 7, if we want to move to Lukaku, we can. We can get rid of Ronaldo. If we don't want to move there, and we can go like double Chelsea defense. We can go like Chilwell or Alonso or whoever, and whack them in there, and then have double Chelsea defense. Play Shaw in there, and it's fine. And then on the wild card, we can bring in Lukaku, and then it's we're okay. Sarr and Traore look good versus Mount for cheaper. I would agree. I would agree that Sarr could be good. you know, then I would have to be... I mean, yeah. I mean, I could definitely go... So, the only thing is that it would still stem on the fact that if Wilson's fit, though. All of this kind of stems on if Wilson's fit. Because if Wilson's fit, then we can get rid of Ings like we had planned to this week. Are you at all nervous not owning Salah for this week against Leeds? I mean, I expect him to do well in the next 3 fixtures. How well he does, that's just, up for choice. So basically this week, if Wilson, again, another thing, like I said, I was considering, I talked about it earlier, was that if Wilson was fit, this -8 could be slightly different. It could be Tsimikas, Barnes, Son, and Ings out. We bring in Ronaldo. We bring in Jota. We just get a cheap defender. We just go Livramento as an example. And then we can bring in a cheaper midfielder. So we can go, in this case, we have kind of exact money at the moment to do Ferran Torres, but we can go Rafinha. We can go a cheaper midfielder. I'm perfectly fine with that too. And then we have the 0.5 million to go for Fernandes straight to Salah. And then captain Salah in the games versus Crystal Palace and Brentford, as an example. Or if Aston Villa are looking bad, we can captain Ronaldo versus Aston Villa at home. So, I mean, there's many different ways we could slice it, but it all depends on if Wilson's fit. If Steve Bruce comes out and says, yes, Wilson's fit, he's perfectly fine, he's trained with us all week, fantastic, good, happy days, I'd be like, okay, let's go. So, but it all depends on that. Because I would love to have Jota in this week. 100%, especially if Firmino's injured. That's why there's so many different things that fluctuate this week. What does Pep say about City assets? What does Ollie say about Manchester United assets, mainly Ronaldo? What does Steve Bruce say about Callum Wilson? What does Klopp say about Firmino? What does the Wolf manager say? What does Brendan Rodgers say about Harvey Barnes? Will Harvey Barnes play in a front two, or will he get dropped completely? What's going to happen there? What does Nuno say about Spurs? Is he going to play Son in a solo striker or something like that without Kane or something crazy? Who knows? We need a lot more information, basically. Have a question for Game Week 5. I have 2 West Ham and 3 United. Like you, can help. Well, you just play them against each other. But for me, I'll only have 2 and 2. I would have Shaw and Ronaldo if I brought in Ronaldo, and then Benrahma and Antonio. So, if Shaw concedes to an Antonio and Benrahma goal and assist type thing, you'll take that because Shaw's higher owned than all of them. No, actually, he's not. He's 46. Antonio's higher owned. But no one's captaining Antonio versus United. No one is going to do that. Benrahma's 30% owned. Shaw is 46% owned. So as long as they score and assist each other, preferably Benrahma scoring, Antonio assisting, you're fine with that. Because then you just hope that Shaw gets attacking returns. Like, if United win the game 2-1, Shaw whips in a corner, or whips in an open play cross, Ronaldo heads it in, goal. United get a penalty. Mason Greenwood gets taken down, Ronaldo scores it, and then Benrahma and Antonio hit one on the break versus United. Like, 2-1, that could easily happen. You just have to hope that something like that can transpire. I'm apprehensive on Wolves' assets at the moment since underlying stats look good, but would like to see their players start to convert their chances and keep some clean sheets before bringing anyone in. Yeah, so if there's anything that I would bring in would be the attacker. I wouldn't bring in the defenders as of yet. If I was on a wild card, I would probably just go for it, personally, just to kind of future-proof everything, because you think over a spell they should do well, which is why the -8, if I were to take it, doesn't look that kind of bad looking, as it were. Because if you think we bring in, let's say, we brought in Ronaldo, we brought in Jota, we brought in Torres and Livramento, you think that Jota can easily get a couple of goals, over the next few fixtures. Harvey Barnes can blank in all 3, no problem. His fixtures are slightly worse, specifically with Man City. Jota could win back that hit 1 time. Ronaldo can win back that hit 1 time. Torres over a longer spell could as well. Rafinha could definitely win it back over a longer spell. It all depends. You plan to remove Ben Rama. Plan to move Ben Rama in Game Week 5 or 11? Ben Rama. I would probably move Ben Rama out on the wild card. I would probably move Ben Rama out on the wild card versus Everton away, potentially. Depends on how West Ham are doing. Jota or Greenwood? If Firmino's out, 100% Jota. If you have no Liverpool problems, basically. If you have no Liverpool problems and Firmino's out, I bring in Jota. And Shiva says no Salah. Salah's going to come back in Game Week 5. So last week we did the transfer from Salah to Son just because of the fixtures. There was also at the time Salah was looking like he might not play in Game Week 4. Obviously that's now not the case, and he's probably going to play. And Son had 2 better fixtures, but we might have to use Son as a cash cow anyway to take him out. Salah and Jota are the 2 main concerns for me this week in terms of what could hit me. So last week it was Antonio not being captained in my team, Greenwood, Fernandes, and there's one other I'm missing. Greenwood, Fernandes, Antonio, and Salah himself. And 3 out of the 4 burnt me. So hopefully that's not this week. So we just have to hope that when Liverpool play Leeds stifle them a bit. It's a 1-1. Maybe it's like a set piece or something. Maybe Van Dijk scores or something random. Leeds get 1, and then it's kind of a stalemate. That's what I have to hope, if that's the case. But so whatever transfers we make this week, we'll leave enough money in the bank to where we can do Fernandes to Salah and captain him in Game Week 5 and 6, assuming he's fit. That's the plan. And then we'll either keep him or ditch him in 7 versus Man City at home, and then bring him back on the wild card because these fixtures are actually relatively good, although you see the West Ham and United away fixtures, aren't great, but the West Ham fixtures are actually quite good. The Arsenal at home one's very good. Everton away can be quite spicy. Wolves away can be tricky, but should be fine. But apart from it, it's really just a United fixture that is probably the concerning one. So. Any comment or Bamford versus Jimenez? I would think if it's from Game Week 4 onwards, potentially Bamford. But I think it could be a toss-up. If we see the Jimenez of old, Jimenez is fantastic. So, and I would pick Jimenez because he's cheaper and he's probably going to score more goals than Bamford. But will we get the same Jimenez as we did from a couple of seasons ago? Who knows? Planning on bringing Traore in this game week? Yep, I know a few managers that have him in some of my leagues as well. I think Traore can do well. It's just he's got to put the chances away. So that is the only issue. Right, we've gone over the hour mark. So I am glad to be back. I'm very happy to be back.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
I'm happy to be back. The previous stream was a delight. We had a lot of interactivity in the comments, in the chat, as it were. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Videos all this week. Back with the deadline stream as well. Yeah, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout just one more time if you haven't heard already. So Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic tool. They usually have 20% off during the preseason. I think that's expired as of now, but I still think it's a fantastic deal so that you can get access to customizable stats tables with Opta stats, as well as a bunch of different tools that can help elevate your FPL game. In the words of a very, very famous commentator, I think it's Martin Tyler who says this line, I think Fantasy Football Scout is...
astonishing. It's absolutely world class.
It's world class. It's great stuff. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and now let's move over to the big screen. So yeah, if you haven't done so, make sure to check out your Fantasy Football Scout membership. You gotta do that. I think my camera is also needs to come down just a touch. There we go. Just a touch, I believe. Got a little bit annoyed there. It was like, it's just 1 pixel up too high. Maybe it's because I'm wearing the shirt that I'm wearing. I was wearing a lighter shirt when I was recording videos, so beforehand on the setup. Yeah, that's gonna do it for the Game Week 4 preview stream. Like I said, make sure to keep us followed here on Twitch so you can see when we go live for a deadline stream and other preview streams. Make sure to follow us over on Twitter so you can see all the up-to-date things that are going out there as well, and any FPL news, any kind of price changes. I retweet those from @FPL status, so make sure to follow him. Any injury news from any of the major outlets there, fixture news, any sort of stuff, so make sure to follow us over on that. Subscribe over on YouTube, so watching this over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, it greatly helps out. Make sure to hit a like as well, and leave a comment down below on the YouTube VOD to let me know what your team is, and let me know what transfers you're looking at. I'd be keen to help and give my input, as well as you can give an input in the comments as what you think I should do as well, so make sure to do that. And lastly, like I said, take advantage of the Fantasy Football Scout membership. There'll be a link in the description for YouTube, as well as in the About section on Twitch. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed it. Got the new soundboard going, and Ronaldo's back. And hopefully we'll be hearing this at Old Trafford later on in the week. Hopefully 3 of those. From Old Trafford, with Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick with the captain's armband on him. That would be absolutely fantastic. And as a United fan, I'd be just absolutely over the moon for that to happen. But thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.